We are just 3 weeks away from your carbon tax hike on May the 1st. This, of course, is the same day that the latest round of energy price hikes from providers will kick in. And the carbon tax will make life harder for workers and families who are already struggling to keep on top of their soaring energy bills. They live in dread, in panic, and in some cases in fear. People are being fleeced by big energy companies who are making bumper profits. So it is crazy that your government, which should act to protect households, will come along at the start of next month and pile on more pressure. Instead of supporting households, your government will ratchet up pressure on families with the tax hike that adds to the already unaffordable price of home heating fuels. At the weekend, government ministers, including Eamon Ryan, vowed that the carbon tax increase will go ahead despite the extraordinary crisis that households face. And almost in the same breath, Minister Ryan told workers and families to save money by taking shorter showers and by driving less. That was the government position on Sunday. Then yesterday, you told the media that the carbon tax hike isn't a big issue in the grand scheme of things, not a big deal. Well, Taoiseach, this is a big issue for households up and down the country where every euro counts. And so, a worn-out public again is left shaking their heads at the out-of-touch reaction from government ministers. And people rightfully ask, where's the common sense? Where's the sense of urgency or agility from government to respond to what's happening in people's daily lives? Taoiseach, the carbon tax hike is the wrong decision at the wrong time. Far too many lives are now defined by the awful choice between heating or eating. And this hike can only make matters worse, disproportionately affecting those on low incomes, affecting older people who struggle to save warm, and it will of course hit households in rural Ireland particularly hard. So it's time, Taoiseach, for you and for government to see sense, because households have been hammered by more than 35 energy price increases in the last year. And people are saying that they can't take any more. So, Taoiseach, I want you to tell hard-pressed workers and families that you will not add to the pressure that is already on them. I want you to tell them that you will scrap this carbon tax hike due on May the 1st, and I would like you to give people that assurance today.
The tax that you referred to and the increase that's in the legislation that this Oireachtas has passed represents, I think, about 140 over a month, would represent over a month. So in the overall scheme of things, that's not the main issue by any yardstick. And you admitted that yourself on Sunday on RT Radio. You acknowledged that this was not anywhere near the very large increases we've experienced because of these global issues that are impacting on us. And the government has responded. I mean, we in the budget allocated $1 billion in tax and social welfare changes. We agreed a further package of $500 million, including the 200 energy credit, which will start appearing on bills this month. It's a cut in electricity bills, and a lump sum payment of $125 for those in receipt of the fuel allowance. On the 9th of March, we announced a 20-cent reduction in the excise rate for petrol and a 15-cent reduction on auto diesel, with a proportionate reduction on the excise on green diesel. That will save consumers about 9 to 12 euros on every fill of petrol or diesel. And since coming into office, we have raised fuel allowance from 630 to 1,039 euros. And if you add in the 200 euro rebate, that's 1,239 for recipients of the fuel allowance. So the government have moved very significantly on this, but we do need this more comprehensive response now, which I think is the way we should go as a society.
Mary Lou McDonald.
Well, Taoiseach, we have made the case to you for a more comprehensive response. In fact, we have advocated for a mini-budget to deal with the very many costs that people are struggling with, including sky-high rents, childcare costs that are out of control, insurance costs that are out of control. And I have to say that up until today, you have singularly failed to listen to or respond to that message. So today I asked you about the carbon tax hike. And I want to put it to you that it is neither intelligent nor sensible to add any level of additional cost to people's home heating expenses at a time of soaring inflation and at a time where you readily acknowledge that we will still, we know there is more to come. Arguably, there is worse to come. So I want to put the question to you again. And I want you to confirm for the House and for the watching public that this tax hike, this carbon tax hike, will not proceed on the 1st of May. It makes no sense. At a time when families are struggling so badly and every euro cost, including Taoiseach, the additional €22 on a fill of oil or €17 on the annual gas bill, all of those count. And I want you to demonstrate that you can act, as you put it, intelligently and sensibly and call this tax hike off.
Thank you.
I think your entire response is political and electoral and nothing more. But what I would like to say to you is this. Any increase in the carbon tax will be offset. So there will be no additional cost to people. But I said to you we need an inclusive process here involving and including climate change as well. Now, yesterday's report by the UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it warned that it's now or never. Okay, to avoid climate catastrophe. That's what they said, and it warned that humanity has less than 3 years to halt the rise of planet warming carbon emissions. And the United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres called out doublespeak on climate. He said some governments and business leaders are saying one thing but doing another. Simply put, they're lying and the results will be catastrophic. I think that is the view of a number of people in this House, including the Sinn Féin party. There are doublespeak on climate. And what I want to say is, it seems to me very much that it's the St. Augustine approach you're taking to climate change. Oh Lord, make me chaste, but not yet. That is your approach. What I'm saying is this.
Attacking me is not an answer.
We can deal with.
Attacking me is not an answer. My
sorry, I
chastity
didn't
or
attack you at
otherwise
all.
is not
Don't
an
be playing the
answer.
victim here. I attacked your party and your party's policy. That's what I said, and you heard me very clearly. But what I want to say is this:
you don't answer
in relation
questions.
to the carbon tax,
And you're the head
in relation
of
to the
government.
carbon tax,
interruption, please.
I've made it very clear. We've already brought down by about €9 and €12 what would have been the costs for petrol and diesel and so on. And we will make sure that any increase on carbon tax we will offset. But we have to do much more than that, is my point. To my earlier response, it needs more substance. I heard you on Sunday morning about the mini budget, but it was so threadbare in substance as to be beyond any credibility.
Taoiseach, please.